Here we go, guys. We're back. Back to the weekly episodes, and what a way to start it after a very biased group of us, the Blues. Very happy with what happened on Sunday night, and that's what kicks us off with the weapon of the week. And let's just go around each of us, say what we enjoyed about the game. I obviously just love the fact that we went up there. They've had both games. They bid $8 million for the first game, still couldn't do anything. It's 76-6 or something at the moment, the scoreline, and it's so good. I love it. It's just being up at Queensland as well just gets a bit more satisfaction out of it. It's like a stadium morning at the moment, and it's brilliant. So no wonder why they put us all in lockdown so they could have some time away and didn't have to see anyone. But Jace, I know you've recently moved up here as well. What you make of the game?
Loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. I was, part of me was hoping that Queensland would come out and actually give us a decent game, and they did. They started off pretty damn hard in that first 10 minutes, but then they just fell apart, turned to water, and we just ran straight through them.
Yeah,
it was beautiful to see.
A player that a lot of people are not necessarily questioning, but why he was there, but it's a real good redemption story is Latrell Mitchell, who I thought was fantastic again. I thought if it wasn't for Turbo Game 1, he probably got man of the match as well. So he's probably up there for man of the series, I'm on at the moment. Josh, what do you make of his game and what you like about the Blues? I know you missed last week's episode, a passionate Blues man. This guy, he fires up, everyone. I'm telling you right now. He's a doggies man, so there's not much to cheer about. So when it was State of Origin time, he has been off the charts.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, the best thing about the game, it was keeping Queensland scoreless. You know what I mean? Just keeping it to 0. That was the best thing about the game, man. Turbo saving tries, Toto saving tries. You can see the frustration in the crowd. You can see the frustration in players. It was just amazing. That was my favourite part of the game, mate. Just keeping them to 0.
Yeah, 100%. I felt like we didn't even get out of second gear, to be honest. It was a weird game. I felt like we were toying with them for a long time, and the fact that last 5 to 10 minutes defence where we kept them scoreless, which was massive. So that's all about a great team. Sid, give us your expert views on the game.
Yeah, it was what we expected. The golfing class is too big. Queensland have too many NRL players. They don't have man for man. We've got way too many rep standard players and a couple of world-class players as well. The ref did his utmost to try and keep him in the game, in my opinion. There were some dubious 50-50s that happened to go to Queensland. And even that particular, there was a try, almost a try, where the video ref you could tell he was just begging to give the try. And then I think it was Val Holmes who put his elbow on the dead ball line, and they had no choice.
Yeah, it was Gagai, yeah.
Oh, Gagai, sorry, yeah. And the one, can I just say, the one with Cam Murray, I don't want to bang on about it, but the one where Cam Murray reckons he didn't go past the play the ball. When the replay, I was watching Channel 9, and when the replay happened, Cam Murray goes past where the play the ball, I think it was paying the hit up, and then joins the play. And the commentators just went quiet. Yeah. They didn't even say, hang on.
I noticed that too, bro. Yeah, I noticed that as well.
You went past, man. Like, it's a lot of crap. Crap.
If the game went longer, it was closer than it was, I reckon there would have been a lot more made out of that call, because I think everyone could see he did end up getting back. So that was an absolute G up of a call. And I think that's what you're sort of hinting at. Yeah, it was just
getting up. No. But, we beat them and we beat the ref. And look, like I said, they couldn't compete. They shouldn't have even been on the same ballpark. And we bombed 2 tries in the first half as well. It should have been 30-0 at halftime anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And look, someone that's probably been unlucky, it gets us into our first tackle to be not playing Origin at the moment, is Dale Finucane. And there's been plenty of talk about him, especially this week, but a few weeks now. And I'll go to you first, Josh, on this one. Is which club needs Dale Finucane the most? I'm not going to ask you who you think he'll sign with, but more so which club out of the 8 to 9 teams that are going for him at the moment needs him the most?
I think the Dogs need him the most, eh? I would love for him to sign back up with the Doggies, man. Because the backline that they're signing next year, we're missing that key forward. And I reckon he's the guy, man. If we make a good play for him, I'm fairly confident he'll sign back at the Dogs. If the money's right, though.
That's a fair point, fair argument. It's obviously a biased view there. You'd love him at the back where he was basically where he started, wasn't he? He was
That's it.
at the Bulldogs for a long time. I'm going to say the Tigers. I think the Tigers desperately need him. They need that style of player. To just be a hard nose, no shortcuts. I think that's what's happening at that club at the moment. People are taking shortcuts. They desperately need that figure to just get in there, a hard-nosed rugby league guy. Jace, which club do you think?
Going with my heart, I'd be the same as Josh and say the Dogs. Bring him back home, and that way it frees up Josh Jackson to go back out wide to that second row position where he's great at running lines. But with my head, I think it'd be pointless him going to Cowboys because you got Taumalolo there anyway at lock. Dal Finucane is an out-and-out lock. Newcastle, they could use an experienced lock there. They got Mitch Barnett, who's a decent lock, but he's not the level of Finucane. But I think the club that would need him the most, I'd have to agree with you and say Tigers.
Yeah, I agree. And look, just want to say something on this, by the way. I've heard there's a commentator out there, I forget who it is at the moment, but he calls him Finucane. It's not Finucane, it's Finucane, okay? So I forget who it is right now, so I can't call you out, you're lucky, but it's not Finucane, it's Finucane. Sid, where's Finucane going?
Well, Finucane's going to the Tigers, I reckon. But the Knights could actually use him, and I think they'll use him a little bit differently. I think they have too many giant forwards, and they might use him in the front row rotation. Because while Finucane, with all his qualities he brings, I don't know if he's much of a link man. That's where Barnett probably is a little bit better than him, and the modern day lock in the current the current game. So they could probably bring him in as a front row rotation because it's still a middle forward anyways, does all the work, doesn't miss a tackle. He's a lot of cleanup, a lot of almost unsung stuff in the middle. But Finucane will go to the Dogs anyways.
Look, I think that also showed, Jake Trbojevic showed at Origin that those lock types can play prop pretty easily, and it also frees up the interchange a little bit because they can play longer minutes up front as well. Second tackle, we don't really care about this one, but I wanted to include it this week, and it is a bit of a talking point. Who's the next Queensland coach? And I'm just going to say hypothetically, we're going to say Paul Green gets sacked at the end of this series. He'll be moved on. We're going to say hypothetical for now. Who overtakes him for next year? Sid, I'll go to you straight up on this one.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, how many times can they keep ringing Wayne Bennett up again? I'm just trying to think of a Queenslander. I don't think there's anyone really out there.
I'll go first then. I'll let you have a bit of a thing. I'll come back to you. I've got an idea that I've thought about today when I was thinking about this. I reckon Kevy Walters is going to get the sack from the Broncos by the end of the year. I think there's already too much happening there at that club. I think he's shown that he suits more of that Origin-style coaching where he's got some good figures around him. I think he gets the sack from the Broncos and goes back to being Queensland coach next year. Jace, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I think it's that is a possibility. Kevy's had some success with Queensland last year, and I think that is definitely a possibility. If it's not Kevy, man, to be honest with you, I really don't know. Like Sid said, how many times can they keep ringing Bennett, and how many times can they, recycle coaches that have already gone through? There's not much left in their options. So at the moment, Kevy's at the top of my list.
Yeah, I think Josh is one of the most passionate Blues men I've ever met. His answer is probably going to be put Paul Green on for the next 20 years for all he cares. But I'll give you the time of day to say something. What do you reckon?
To be honest, man, who else would the players play for? Like, think of the next player the Queensland players would play for. Like JT, maybe. Billy Slater, maybe. That's the only two people I can think of. You know, that's maybes. But I don't think with the player crop that New South Wales have in this at this time, it doesn't matter who's coaching Queensland. It doesn't really matter because New South Wales are better all over the park.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And Sid, I'll go back to you, but I want to throw in a little bit of a curveball here as well. I'm going to say on top of this question, DCE loses the captaincy and gets dropped for next year, and they think beyond and go for probably Sam Walker. Who's your captain next year as well?
Me?
Yeah, you, bro.
Well,
Who, me?
when you talk to three people, you should say the name of the person.
I
you're
said
talking
at the
to.
start, mate, you should maybe pull your hood down. It's covering your ears.
So look, let me address the first part. I think there's a forgotten man here for coach. They'll probably default to Neil Henry. He's assistant at the moment. They have tooted his horn in the past. Apparently, he's a good coach. He had a bit of a bad situation at Gold Coast, you know, where he lost the dressing room and never really showed what he could do. They praised him a fair bit with the with last year's effort when they said, "Oh, Bennett was there." Neil Henry's been assistant. Neil Henry's still assistant. As far as Slater and Thurston, I don't think they have the coaching certificates yet. There's a minimum amount of years required as well as the courses. So I don't think we'll see them coaching for some years. Probably just assistants or sitting in the box, helping with team talks and that, and tactics, of course. But yeah, Neil Henry is the guy, and the captain. There's no one else. It'll be Munster. Harry Grant is a distant second. He's young. He's a gun, but he's young. So they'll get Munster as the captain, and they'll get Sam Walker in. You guys are right, 100%. Look, DCA, the giraffe, nunneck, whatever you call him. He's
He's got a massive neck.
No neck. He's got too much neck.
Yeah, but I call him the VB long neck. He's a spent force, and they're starting to see that now. You know, they won't wait around. They don't want to wait 5-6 years to try and get a result. They'll get rid of him.
Yeah, some of his comments after the game was just, I thought they were gobsmacking from a captain of Queensland, and they always say how much passion they have for the place. He basically was just sounding like he'd given up before the series even started, and he had all these excuses. So definitely think it's time to move on from him. We've been pretty critical of him in the last month or so, but I think there's some valid reasons why we've been saying what we've been saying, and it's starting to show. I'm with you, Sid. I think Munster, if he can keep his head on and cool, or I'd say left field option of Cameron Welsh for a couple of years, a real hard-nosed sort of forward. Really like what he's bringing to the table. Third tackle is a side that I wanted to bring this up over the last few weeks, and it was an interesting thing. Jason's having a laugh and said, can we stop for a second? What's the laughter about?
It's Christian Welsh. It's Christian.
Yeah, you called him Cameron.
Did I? Oh, Christian. Sorry, bro. Sorry, Christian.
You do our research here at League of Inches.
Yeah, sorry, Christian. How are you? It just felt right. Just coming off the tongue.
As a captain, you
Cameron
need
Welsh.
I made it sound like I had conviction. That's the thing. I was confident about what I was saying, and I believed it. I thought it was great.
You were confidently wrong. You're right.
Yeah, well, look, Christian, sorry, bro. You're welcome on the show anytime. Really love you. Love your brother Cameron as well. Third tackle, a team that I wanted to bring this on a bit earlier, but we've had Origin and stuff, so it's been hard. But the West Tigers, honestly, I just can't. This side is just that up and down, and mostly down this year. I'm starting to really feel for their fans. I feel for the long, hard-nosed fans that have been there from day dot, and the way this club is going at the moment is just, it's not good enough. It's not good enough for, let alone NRL level. And there's some massive questions that need to start being asked. Josh, I'll go to you first. I think they're lucky that there's a team like the Broncos at the moment who are going so bad that it still makes them look like they're going okay. But for any normal rugby league fan, they can see that the Tigers are in trouble. Where's it all gone so wrong?
To be honest, man, I wouldn't have a clue, man, because we go back to when they beat Dragons. they actually look like a good team. You know what I mean? They beat Dragons in Wollongong, and you think, Tigers are they turned the corner. But then in the last couple of weeks, you leaked 90 points. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have a clue. I'm pretty dumbfounded by their performance. Because you look at their team on paper, they're half decent. It's not like they're no names.
Yeah, and their backline's actually fairly good. It's
Yeah.
a backline that a few teams out there would probably like to have. For mine, Jason Tarmo as well. He's been pretty underwhelming, I think, this year. They brought him to be such a big captain.
Did you just say Jason? Did you just call him Jason Tarmo?
No, James Tarmo.
Pretty sure you said Jason Tarmo.
Mate, honestly, guys, I just need to stop the show for a second. And there is some big changes happening. And I've been a bit fatigued myself. A lot happening. We're moving house and everything. You can see a box just there.
You sound like Cherry Evans with your excuses.
Business is booming. A lot of things are happening. That's why I called Daily Cherry Evans DC. I didn't even think I was going to be able to get it out, but here we are. Look, I'm just going to take over. I'm just going to throw it to Jace now. What do you make of the Tigers? I'm giving up.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, bro.
Player of the Origin series is going to be Michael Slater.
Cricketer.
We're getting to that point where it starts to go here. We're going to try and.
Let's go.
All right, back to the Tigers, mate. To be honest with you, it's hard to find answers because you can't really pinpoint the problems exactly. Just like Josh said, on paper they're a great team. Like, you got a few guys there that are actually trying their hearts out, and just stuff isn't panning out. But it's hard to find answers when you can't pinpoint exactly where they're going wrong. It's just, as a club altogether, I think they're just falling apart. To be honest with you, that's my point of view.
Yeah, well, look, one of those players that are trying their guts out is Adam Dewey. I think everyone can agree with that. He's probably been their best player so far, and James Tarmo, this is the point I was trying to make a bit earlier, is that they were desperate with some leadership and they had to buy leadership out from outside the club, bring him in. He hasn't got any history at the club. I'm one of the big believers in your captain needs to be someone that's been at the club for a little bit of time now, understands the fabric, understands what it means to be a Tiger in this instance. I don't think Tarmo had done that. No offense to him. He's just doing what he's been brought in for, but the players Simon haven't brought in. They don't respect him as much as a captain as what they probably should. And maybe that's the reason why. I'm just trying to think what these valid reasons could be, and that could be something. Sid, is there any logic to what I'm saying, or you got any other reasons?
Oh, man, they're still reshaping their roster. That's an issue. And no matter how much people will deny it, it does affect players, it affects their mentality. You speak of leadership, I think what sort of leader they need is a leader that can talk and somebody in the tactical area. A bloke like Mbai, for example, he's got those qualities, I think, just in the way he talks and that. He knows his footy. And, he's generally around the halves. But he's been, he's on the outer. There are a lot of players that are on these big contracts that they've been trying to shop out. Russell Packer. I think they're still paying Reynolds as well. Some big money, $800K. Like, that's ridiculous, and it plays on people's minds. Like, and then you have, some other players that playing for a contract. Some other players are happy, and it just tells the lack of consistency and stability. It reflects on the field. But I will add one more thing, frankly, and it's going to sound surprising coming from me. I just don't think mergers work, because every few months, every 6 months, you hear of bickering between West and the Balmain board. One's got the money, one's got the history. It's the same at St. George. There's always these issues, and they go away a little bit when you win a couple of games, and then they come back. Again, they don't seem to be rowing in the same direction, to use an analogy. I just don't think mergers work, and there's no heart, there's no spirit.
Yeah, I think the other thing, and this is why I think the Tigers need Finucane, is that he's a hard-nosed player. He doesn't make excuses. When the going gets tough, he just rolls up the sleeves and goes even harder. And that's the sort of players, especially with Maguire there, they talk about a Maguire-type player. That's the type of player Maguire loves. that will be what they need and to work for. There's a couple of players there at the moment that can work with that, but yeah, there's still some massive roster decisions to make there. It's just interesting how long it's going to actually take and if they persist with Maguire or the patience quickly runs out. Fourth tackle is a few predictions I want to do. And at the halfway point or just over, we've had some origin games and things like that. So everyone had their predictions at the start of the year. I haven't had time to go back and see what they all were, but I'm going to give us all some time. And because Dane's not here, he just gets his old predictions. So I think he had Raiders to win the grand final, which sucked in, mate. Egg on your face, you dog. I know I've got that out of the way. I just had to get that out. Sorry, guys. I want to get your minor premiers. Yeah, well, look, we all wrote in pencil our predictions at the start of the year. Now we can rub them out, put them over in permanent marker. So I want your minor premiers. I want your wooden spooners. I want your Dally M medalists, your 2 grand finalists, and then I'll come back to you with the last one because there's a lot to do there, and Sid probably forgets already, so I'll go to him first.
Cool.
Okay, I still think Penrith are going to win it. I'll be boring and say the grand finalists will be Melbourne Penrith because I think they're streets ahead. I'm not going to get creative or anything like that. Daily M, that's a tricky one.
Dally M, not Daily.
Is it? Oh wow!
Thank you.
No worries.
This guy.
So is that how they say it in Queensland? Or?
Yeah, Dally M, mate, not Daily. Don't know who Daily is.
Daily M. Look, when we had this discussion last time, I was trying to avoid somebody that's going to play Origin because it just affects them. They end up getting rested. When they do play, even though their Origin points go towards the total, they're playing with, other legends. But I mean, Turbo playing in such a poor team, when they win, he inevitably gets the 3 points. So I'm going to go with Turbo as my Daily M medalist. But what was the other questions?
Wooden spooner, mate.
Wooden spoon. It's Broncos now. It's Broncos. I don't think they can accumulate enough wins. They're just way too occasional. When I say occasional, they play good for 10, 12 minutes out of the 80. You know what I mean? It's very hard to win a football game when you play good for that long. You know?
Are you feeling okay?
Who?
You.
Yeah, magnificent.
Yeah, because you take any chance you can have a pot shot at the dog. So I'm surprised you didn't have one just then. So well done, mate. You're improving with age. Beautiful.
I'm trying. No, they're all right. They've got enough problems.
Oh, there's always one. Josh, give us your bold predictions.
To be honest, I agree with Sid. Nearly everything he said I was going to say. I had Penrith minor premiers. I reckon they'll win the grand final. Especially if Cleary he's only out for 3 to 6 weeks, I think they said. If he's back for the finals, I think they'll get the minor premiership and the thing. Dally M, I was going to go to Trbojevic only because he's killing it, man. The last month, that's all you hear. It's the Turbo.
Jace.
Wooden spooners.
Sorry.
Go on, mate.
Sorry, mate. There you go. I fell asleep with you.
The wooden spooners, I don't know. We'll go Broncos, That's it. Game over.
I knew something. Jace, give us something new. Give us something exciting.
Minor premiers, I think with Cleary out the 3 to 6 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks, whatever it is, I don't think Penrith are going to go that crash hot with it. So I think Storm for minor premiers. Grand finalists, I think it will be getting Cleary back in five for finals. I think it will be Storm and Panthers. Grand finalists with Panthers coming out on top. Dally M, it's hard to go past Trbojevic, so I'm going to have to agree with the boys on that with Turbo and with Spooners. I'm not going to say the Dogs, so definitely Broncos.
Yeah, well, look, guys, I'll try and mix it up, but Jason's sort of stole my thunder here. I'm going to say Melbourne Storm. Nathan Cleary's massive loss in the run home, and Penrith actually have a few of the higher teams. I think they might struggle, and an early bold prediction this weekend. I think Para's going to do them. So that'll be that one there. I think I've even forgotten my own questions here. The Wooden Spooners of the Broncos. Wooden Spooners of the Broncos. They're an absolute rebel and 2 in a row for a once mighty club. How the mighty have fallen, as they say. I'll say Dally M. I have to go with Trbojevic. Cleary's injury is massive. He would have won it by a country mile, but now Turbo's in rich form. He's going to probably win it by about 5 or 6. And I think, I think Storm and Penrith grand final still, but Storm are going to win it. I think they'll have the run. And I think Penrith's injuries might strike them late. They might get some injuries late. Now, the last prediction I wanted to make, because I didn't want to make too much in a row and get used to all to forget, is for mine in the Battle of the 8, there's 6 teams that already have enough points, or not enough points, but are sitting well, and that's the top 6. So there's 2 spots left. And at the moment, it's the Dragons and Sharks. Who do you think are the 2 sides that creep into the 8 to make the top 8? Josh, you can go first here.
Well, no way. I'll go Sharks. Sharks are hitting form. I reckon Sharks. But I don't know. I've got a sneaky feeling about Canberra. I reckon they'll come good. I think Canberra will come good.
Okay. I'm going to say Sharkies will be one of mine. They got a really easy run home, really favourable run. And I also think this is a smoky. I'm going to do it, but Warriors. They get to play back at home in the little last few games, which I think will be massive. Good way to get them up for a few games. And I think they're just going to do enough to squeeze past the Dragons, but only maybe by a game or so. Jace, who are your 2 teams?
Yeah, I see Dragons and Sharks slipping away. So I'm going to agree with Josh and say Canberra will take one of those 2 spots, and agree with you, Joel, and say Warriors. Warriors got a lot to play for. I think with that end goal inside, being able to play back at home, I think that'll really boost their morale. So I think Raiders and Warriors to hold those last 2 spots.
Yeah, 100%. I think the only worry, I'm worried about the Sharks because all their players in the last month or so have had things to play for in terms of getting new contracts and things like that. But now that most of that sort of sorted itself out, Fitzgibbon knows who he wants and doesn't want, and other players have signed elsewhere or about to, I think they might their motivation might drop a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sharks do come out of the 8. But if they do, Dragons might just do enough to sneak into 8th. Sid, are you going to go with your heart or your head here?
No, I've been looking at our run, and we got Penrith twice, we got South twice, we got Melbourne. It's a gauntlet. We had a lot of easy games. We probably should have won. We lost to the Dogs, we lost to the Tigers twice, and we lost to Sharks twice. Probably could have won at least
Did you
3 of
guys
those.
lose to the Dogs?
Yeah. We whipped them the first time, and then we let them win the second one. But, happens.
Sorry, you go on.
I'm pretty sure our boys had money on them. But anyways, because I don't get paid enough,
Yeah.
Yeah, but our running is really bad. I reckon the Sharks will be all right. I have a feeling that we're going to see a good back end from Sean Johnson. He's got this injury behind him. I was reading something about Achilles tendon injuries. Quite often, when before the injury, it's sore and it swells, and then it snaps. But when it heals, it's like better than ever. Now, if he can get anything to 80-90% of the old SJ that we know, he can really tear it up with this 6 again in this new fast game, And he's already shown. I think he had 3 or 4 try assists, and he forced 4 line dropouts in the last game. Short kicking games up there with the best. And I've got a feeling that he's gonna carry him in, behind that monster pack of theirs. And I think Warriors, I've got to agree with you guys. Warriors, I thought they're looking good, and I forgot that they're going to be playing at home, and that's going to be huge. I think the Warriors and Sharks will take it. And you guys, Josh and Jason, I think you're forgetting how bad the Raiders are and all the stuff that's off the field, all the issues that's going on. They might win a game here and there, and it doesn't mean that their problems go away. They don't have a halfback, they let their halfback go. You can't just pull a halfback out of nowhere. They're going to run Sam Williams, which, in my opinion, he's a state league player at best.
I've started the hashtag Sack Stewart. So get on board, guys. If you want to sack Ricky Stewart, hashtag it out. Hashtag League of Inches, and we're right behind you. Quickly, guys, I want to get two quick predictions for the weekend. There's two big games for mine involving two of the top 5 teams in the comp. First one's tomorrow night, Thursday night, Roosters versus Storm at the SC. Oh, sorry, it's not at SCG anymore. It's at McDonald Jonas Stadium. We've just changed it on it. All right, great. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Like I did my research. So not really a neutral ground, but Teddy apparently and Crichton are both backing up. So that's pretty big news. No Pappy still. And I don't think Grant's back either yet. So, Jace, who are you going to go this one?
I'm going to say Roosters. They look like they have a stronger team with Storm having those few.
Yeah. Josh?
I'm going to take Melbourne here, eh? I think Melbourne will get this one.
Any reason why?
Nah, just because I don't like Roosters.
Yeah, fair enough. Sid?
Yeah, I mean,
Fair enough.
no, I've got to say, I've got to agree with Josh because, I don't know. I can't see a team scoring six points one week and then losing the next week. They'll have enough. They'll center the game around the forwards. You'll see a couple of crash over tries. Melbourne will be a little bit too strong.
I'm with you, boys. I'm going for the Storm as well. Now it's more neutral. If it was at the SCG, I was leaning towards the Roosters because they're great record there, but I think the Storm will be too good in a neutral sort of ground. Penrith v Para on Friday night, Battle of the West. Second game I want to just quickly touch on. Obviously a massive loss with Penrith having no Nathan Cleary. I think it's really the first time all year they've been without him. So, and pretty much the first time this whole run that they've been without him. So, big loss. Jace, Penrith or Para?
I'm going to say Penrith, man. Burton switched back to the halves. Naden back into centre, I think. I think that Penrith is still going to be too strong.
I'll tell you what, aren't the Panthers glad they didn't release Burton to the Dogs already, because this is the exact reason why they didn't do it. So, you know what? They've ended up making the right call. Selfish one, but the right call for the club. Josh?
I'm going to take Penrith here, but I hope Mitch Moses has a big game because I think he's the new New South Wales halfback.
Oh, yeah.
I think he will be. I think he'll be the next Blues halfback, man.
Not a bad prediction. And Sid, give us your big, bold call. I can feel it.
Where is it at? Who's home?
It's at Bluebet.
Bluebet.
Yeah.
That's the Penrith.
I knew I'd get it. Do your research. Rename Penrith Stadium Bluebet.
I'm going to go with Penrith in extra time.
Oh, there we go. See, there was a little bit. It wasn't much of a boldy, but there's something. I'm going to stick with Para. I think Para is going to win this. I think Nathan Cleary out is a huge, huge loss, and Burton and Luai play pretty much the same way. So it's going to be interesting not having the game managing half with them for once. But look, Isaiah Yeo's been doing a good job in the middle, but I just think with Moses having basically a performance or an audition for the Blues, I think he'll step up and lead the Eels well. Look, guys, that's it. Bring it on. We're back to some normal rugby league for the whole weekend. How good. May your teams all win. Didn't touch on the Doggies, but they got Manly over at Bankwest. So good luck to that. Turbo, I heard, is playing. So you might need it to the Dragons. Dragons, who you guys versus? You got the Warriors. So that could be the edge of the 8 sort of.
Last week we beat the Dragons, okay?
All right, boys and girls, please enjoy. Thanks for all the love once again. We'll tune in, see you all next week. And Dane, you're an outright dog.